Hello, everyone, and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video, Core Pick a live stream for today, May 30th. It's Tuesday as well. It's going to be a pretty large main slate over on FanDuel today, 13 games in total. Sometimes these slates can be really good. Obviously, we can mix and match quite a bit, but probably my least favorite just because there are so many games, especially when it comes down to a research perspective. But if you guys are interested in that, definitely be sure to check out the cheat sheet. It is 100% free over on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube community tab, also on Patreon with some additional notes as well. If you're interested in that, there's a small monthly donation over there. Ends up being about 25 cents per day, Monday through Friday. You get some additional notes, hitter versus pitcher matchups, pitchers, whether or not I would play them, avoid them, whether kind of risky play, everything else like that. But without further ado, if you are brand new to this video, this kind of structure I typically like to follow. So a recap of yesterday's picks, going into a weather report for today's games, if any weather could be like affecting anything just in general. Then moving over to the core picks on FanDuel, there'll be one pitcher, four hitters. So these are guys that I do like, have some pretty good history in the past or recent history as well. Definitely like spotlighting them just in general. You don't have to play all five together, but kind of mixing and matching as well as the top GPP stacks, which are on the bottom half of my cheat sheet as well. There's going to be quite a few different teams to stack as well today. If you're interested in that Patreon, there is more teams in depth there too, because you can only fit 4 or 5 on the cheat sheet. Looks like we got DJ's mix up in here with the comment too. Good morning, my man. So good morning to you as well. Definitely do appreciate everybody tuning in, whether you're watching live or on replay. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. Yesterday, like I said, there was probably about 3 or 4 pitchers that I was targeting yesterday. I played about 4 in total myself. Sonny Gray was one of them. He was $10,200. Ended up with only 25 points. So I did give him a miss yesterday. Wasn't a terrible start by any means, but 6 innings, 2 earned runs, only 3 strikeouts though. So the strikeouts were really the thing that hurt him the most. He got the quality start. He didn't get the win. So, just kind of an average day. Hopefully you guys got to some exposure to some of the pitchers that did just a little bit better yesterday. Then at second base or third base, just depending on where you ended up playing him, we had Ryan McMahon, who's been on a hot streak as of late. Only was $2,600 yesterday. Got to 40.7 points. He was 4 for 5. He had a home run as well. So he was a really good hit. One of the top overall hitters on yesterday's slate. Then we had Jose Ramirez, who had some pretty good history in the past versus I'm trying to remember who was pitching for Baltimore yesterday. Can't remember off the top of my head, but Jose Ramirez was $3,500. Only ended up with 6 points. So to give him a miss since he was, over that $3,000 price tag. We're looking for at least double-digit points out of him. It's a little bit unfortunate there, but still not a guy that really completely killed us yesterday in general. And then we had Robbie Grossman, who had pretty good history versus Matthew Boyd in the past, $2,900. A little bit more than you'd like to pay for him on most slates, but still got to 12.4 points, so to give him a hit yesterday. And then the initial lineup or the initial core that I had Charlie Blackmon in there. He had been hitting really, really well as of late, but he got the day off. So did say to switch over to Chris Bryant. He ended up being $2,700, got to 6.2 points. Did give him a push yesterday. Fortunately, went 0 for 4, but he did have a walk and a run scored. So not anybody that really helped our lineup, but not anybody that killed it at the same time overall. So a little bit of hit or miss day yesterday. You're going to have that with MLB. There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. But at the end of the day, we want more good days than bad days. And, on slates like this yesterday, with only 6 games, mixing and matching was a big piece there. It was a decent day for me overall. Nothing to really, really write home about, but a slightly profitable day overall. So hopefully you guys had a similar result. But with that being said, I'm going to talk a little bit of weather. Sometimes I'll pull up the RotoWire tab, but not too much to talk about today. Weather looks pretty good. No major concerns at this point in time. If anything does change throughout the day, we'll leave that down in the comments, as well as the starting lineups for as many teams as I can get to tonight as well. But with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing this screen. We're going to go over to FanDuel, talk about those core picks that I do have for today. So I'm going to bring that up here right now. Hopefully this doesn't take too long to load today, because computer's been a little bit slower as of late, if you guys have been tuning into my videos lately. But without further ado, we're getting into pitcher. We got Bryce Elton here. He's $10,400. Going against the Oakland A's. He has no history versus them in the past, but if you've been following baseball at all this year, the A's are the worst team in all baseball. They only have like 10 wins at this point in time, almost like a 200 run differential. Not a very good offense by any means. Bryce Elder has actually been a pleasant surprise for this Braves team overall. Averaged about 33 fantasy points per game. He's $10,400. ERA right around 2. He's got 3 wins on the season. He's been pretty reliable more times than not. A couple of down starts here and there, but for the most part, been a solid guy. Not a super high upside strikeout guy. That's kind of the one concern with him, but $10,400. If we can get 40 or more points out of him, going to be pretty happy with that result just in general today. And then as we're moving down, we're going to Wilson Contreras at catcher. So, guy that hasn't been hitting the ball as well as of late. So, this is more on the past history side. A lot of what I do when I do my research, I look at past history, I look at current history or recent history as well, and try to combine the two. And when I'm making some picks, sometimes there's guys that just like to stand out, and you take a little bit of a bet on the matchup just in general. So Wilson Contreras, 3 for 4 with 2 home runs in his career versus Zach Greinke. Like I said, Wilson Contreras has not been hitting the greatest as of late. There's been multiple games where he's been playing DH instead of catcher too as well. I know he's been a little bit banged up at times this year. 228 average, 5 home runs, 25 RBIs, averaging just over 9 fantasy points at $2,700. If we can get at least 9 out of him today at that price tag, not going to be too bad overall. Obviously, we're looking for that higher end upside. As you can see here, the recent games have not been as pretty. That's really dragging him down as of late. But if, we can get this high upside game for Zach Greinke, who is, almost 40 years old at this point in time, definitely like that upside in general. And that history there does back that up a little bit as well. Obviously, there's always the chance that Contreras doesn't play since he is a catcher, and maybe they go Andrew Nizer at catcher and they don't let Contreras DH. So that is something we'll be watching out throughout the day. But definitely somebody that I do like targeting, a decent pay down spot for him overall, and does present some upside as well. Then at second base, we're going with Ketel Marte. He got the night off yesterday, but he's $3,000 going against the Colorado Rockies. Kyle Freeland on the mound today. In his career versus Kyle Freeland, he has 11 for 34. He's got 1 home run versus him as well. And, when you're looking at Ketel Marte, he has an 8-game hitting streak. So he's been hitting the ball extremely well as of late. 277 average on the season, 7 home runs, 21 RBIs. A guy that doesn't really run as much as he did earlier in his career. That would have been something nice this season just to see, because, those are free points and from a DFS perspective, just in general. And then over that 8-game hitting streak, he's got 3 multi-hit games. He got 2 home runs in there as well. So definitely do like the upside that he does present today. I like this Diamondbacks team a little bit versus Kyle Freeland as well. And then as we keep moving down, we're going with Royce Lewis at shortstop. He is only $2,000. He made his season debut last night, and he hit a home run in that game as well. Going against Houston Astros is Brandon Bielik on the mound today. Guy that's really just been filling in their rotation with all the injuries they've had. A guy that hasn't had too much success in the past. Royce Lewis has never faced him in the past before, but a really good pay down spot here at $2,000. Coming back, being the second game of the season, do expect that, he's going to have some pretty popular ownership just in general today. So obviously we saw 2 for 5 with a home run out of him yesterday. So definitely has some high end upside. But, with that $2,000 price tag, you're saving a ton of money, but the ownership's going to come with it at the same time as well. And just at the same time, we should probably talk about, since he's coming back from injury, maybe they don't play him 2 days in a row right away, but was playing pretty actively in the minor leagues. So I don't expect that to be the case. Obviously coming back from his ACL surgery just in general. As we keep moving down in the outfield, we got TJ Friedel. He is going against the Boston Red Sox. It's Brian Bayo on the mound today. Excuse me. Couldn't talk there for a second, but Bayo's been pitching a little bit better as of late, but TJ Friedel faced him one time in his career. He is 1 for 3 with a home run versus him. TJ Friedel has a 4-game hitting streak. All 4 of those games have been multi-hit games in recent history. You see the 326 average, 3 home runs, 18 RBIs on the season, averaging almost 10 fantasy points per game at $2,800. Definitely a guy that has some pretty strong upside today. The Reds could be a somewhat sneaky team, and going against Brian Bayo, not the greatest offense in the world, but Jake Fraley, TJ Friedel, Stuart Fairchild have had a little bit of success for some. A little bit of sneaky play if you want to go there today, but it's probably not one to get into too much myself, but Friedel is definitely a guy that I do like. I liked him as he was a prospect coming up and everything else like that. $2,800, definitely not a bad price tag for him whatsoever. So with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed, you have $14,100 remaining, just over $3,500 per player. So you can pretty much pay up for anybody on the rest of the slate from here if you want to do so. Obviously, like I said, with the core picks, don't have to play all 5 of these guys together, but just guys that I like highlighting. You can build some stacks, kind of play some of these guys as one-ups as well. Definitely a lot of ways that we can approach it today, especially on the 13-game main slate overall. But with that being said, going to stop sharing the FanDuel screen. We'll go over to the tab, go to the bottom half of my cheat sheet, and talk about the top GPP teams to stack for today. So, like I said earlier, if you're looking for more teams to stack, check out the Patreon page. Small monthly donation over there, but 4 of them fit on the cheat sheet. There's probably about 8 or 9 that look like reasonable stacks today, just in general. There's some pretty good high end pitching. There's a lot of pitchers that look pretty good, but then the other half looks pretty good for the offense as well. So right now I do have the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're going against Jake Irvin of the Washington Nationals. It's like his 6th career major league start. So not too much history there before. He's never faced the Dodgers. Dodgers obviously have a potent lineup, so looks like a pretty good matchup there just in general. Freddie Freeman was the one that did make my cheat sheet because he's been doing really well as of late. But feel free to mix and match Dodgers as you please. Probably going to be a lot of ownership coming with this stack just in general, though. Then we move over to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've hit Kyle Freeland really well in the past, whether it's Ketel Marte, whether it's Christian Walker, whether it's Josh Rojas. I think there's somebody else in there too that I'm missing, but that's definitely in my notes over on Patreon. So definitely be sure to check that out once again. But definitely a stack that we do like once again today. A lot of those guys are pretty reasonably priced as well. And then moving over to the St. Louis Cardinals, not a lot of history versus Zach Greinke, but the guys that have faced him before have done pretty well, whether it's Wilson Contreras, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado. Those would be the big 3 there. And then the Atlanta Braves going against JP Sears, left-handed pitcher for the Oakland A's. There's no history here in the past, but the Braves have that pretty potent lineup. There is some decent values in this Braves lineup. Travis D'Arenado at $2,500. If he gets to start, could be a little bit sneaky play at catcher today too as well. So definitely a lot of options that we do have out there. Those are the 4 top GPP stacks that I'm going to talk about at this point in time. Like I said, definitely a lot more up on Patreon. There's probably 8 or 9 teams that I would feel comfortable stacking today. So definitely mixing and matching on this 13-game main slate makes a lot of sense just in general. But with that being said, that's pretty much what I have for today in terms of MLB DFS core picks for the top stacks, weather report, recap, everything else like that. If you guys do have any additional questions whatsoever, feel free to leave them down in the comments. As I mentioned already, if anything does change weather-wise or starting lineup-wise, I'll leave it down in the comments as well. And then with that being said, definitely interested in hearing which Then, with that being said, definitely very interested in hearing what you guys have to say in terms of your favorite pick or your favorite play for today, just in general. A lot of different options out there. Could be somebody from my core picks, could be somebody from my cheat sheet, top GPP stacks, could be somebody completely different. Definitely interested in hearing what you guys have to say. And then, with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, you enjoy the content that I am putting out, feel free to subscribe. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, it's mainly MLB DFS as well as USFL DFS. USFL DFS video comes out on Friday, so if that's something you're into, definitely be sure to check that out as well. We'll be doing a live stream later on today with Woody from Daily Stat Jocks. Believe that stream will be up on Twitter. Check it out. I'm going to have myself, one of the guys from, I believe, Roto Grinders on there, as well as, I believe, Orange DFS over on Twitter. So definitely be sure to check that out. That will be around 3 o'clock Central Time today, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Should be a pretty good, interesting show just over there in general. Talking through a little bit of MLB slate, talking through a little bit of player props. I think they're going to even throw in some WNBA stuff in there as well. So it should be a pretty fun time. Definitely would appreciate that support over there as well. But with that being said, that's really what I have at this point in time. If you don't have those notifications turned on already, please do so. It will let you know every single time that I do go live or post up a pre-recorded video. And then with that being said, last but not least, all the support in the world definitely means a lot to me. Definitely appreciate everyone tuning in, whether you're watching live or on replay. Definitely means a lot to me, as I already mentioned. Hopefully each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS tonight.